Warm welcome. It's the 18th of November 2024. The moon made a change and shifted over to the sign of Cancer, while the sun is still in the sign of Scorpio. And as Saturn moved direct and is almost at still stand yet, because it takes him some time to buckle up, we are in a stronghold of the water trine, the big water trine. Now, we have two elements that go down and two elements that go up. Air and fire tends to go up, and water and earth tend to go down. Now we could say, hold it, hold it, hold it. Haven't we had a president election in the US and didn't elect the American people to get out of those wars? And now what is this lame duck president doing? Is he just, turning the screw up to maximum escalation to, kick off a big war in his last 2 months of power, just to have his company and himself staying in positions of power, because that is what usually happens when big wars happen. You don't have government changes anymore. Is it what they are heading for, really, to get this thing done? I do think no, it's not going to happen, but we're going to see a recent escalation. And as you see, those people, Eric Weinstein said that, they won't accept a no. They know the path where it's going. They know the future. They know anything about climate and blah, blah, blah. And if there comes a political no from the other side, saying, no, we want to keep the concept of women and men on this earth, for instance, they are starting to get very angry, and then they do things that are sinister. And this is looking at the present US president. He's a Scorpio person with a very, very, on the borderline tight moon in the sign of Taurus. And usually those persons have the ability to have a little control over their character. And nothing to say against Scorpio, but when Scorpio goes wrong, it's on revenge, and it's more the women than the men. So as Biden isn't governing anyhow, it's probably Mrs. Clinton hanging around and doing things like that. And that is, to put it in one word, pure evil, because this is not only about politics, this is about the whole world standing behind that. So what are we regular folks gonna do with this situation? Sit, work, and pray. We can't do nothing else, because but this is not no power. This is some power. There's a possibility to do something. Those lunatics obviously want to beat the world with a whip into a big war, and we just shouldn't let it happen. The chance is small to avoid it, but there is a chance, and we rely on miracles, like the missed shooting on President-elect Trump is one of those miracles. And as we have seen one of those miracles, I say we're going to see more of those miracles. And actually, to tell you the truth, we need it. We didn't even have a look at the chart today. Actually, the idea of sending those or giving the okay for attacking, I'm not going to use this word. This is the sun opposing Uranus, and as you know, Mr. Biden is Sun Scorpio, and he even has a Taurus moon, and the last full moon hit him hard on his full moon proposal. So this is what's the happenings, what the happenings are about. So we all rely on the battlefield is cruel. I must say that if we talk about strategic advances and things like that, we need to cool down our mood very much because we are talking about people, you know, being killed in the most cruel and it's awful. It's a dirty war. It's really dirty, you know, and it's in the middle of Europe, and the idea of sending those long-range missiles won't change anything. That they can't change the outcome of the war. This war is just from the beginning on based on a, you know, very primitive and very short thinking calculation, you know. As you know, I'm a German astrologer and I'm speaking from Germany and looking at German politics. We are not allowed to say too much about that, because if you talk about German politics or if you go, give your true meaning out there, it's really possible they will destroy your existence. You know, this is what really happens in Germany. It's far beyond anything that you witness in the US or other countries in Europe, and people just don't notice it internationally because they can't speak the language. They don't have a view into the atmosphere of the country and things like that. But we are actually helpless because we do not have something like, you know, you see, I can't even use the very common words, not to get into a corner. Anybody listening to this video knows anyhow. So in the inside you see the chart of Germany. The outside is the chart of the scheduled day of the election coming next year at the 23rd of February, which is completely unconstitutional, to say it by the way, because this is not the way German parliaments open up the way for elections. You know, it's upside down. You first have to ask the parliament, then the president has to dissolve the parliament, then the chancellor has to look for other majorities and things like that. No, they went the shortcut. They pronounced out the election day before anything of that has happened. You know, so this is very usual to do things not the constitutional way, you know, actually. But looking at that chart, what I'm really afraid of is Pluto, when it tomorrow goes to the sign of Aquarius, will hit the north node of Germany from the outside. And we must pray and hope that this is not, you know, the revenge from the east towards... I mean, if we're lucky, you know, there are so many bad things about this governing person, Mr. Schulz, you know, and they make him ridiculous and everything like that. But he had, throughout the last 2 years, one positive thing, that was he gave a little resistance to the warmongers, a little resistance, because he has kind of half the backup in his party. They still remember, oh, once we have been the party of peacekeeping persons like Willy Brandt, you know, who went to Poland and got down on his knees and said sorry for Second World War. They were the party of Helmut Schmidt, who was still full of memories of his own combat experience, and he said there's nothing more dirty than war, you know, just avoid it. Half of the people of one of the governing parties, which is called the Social Democratic parties, are still on the peace path, you know, and so this chancellor couldn't do anything like delivering those Tauruses and bullshit stuff, you know, and things like that. The new chancellor, and I'm sorry to say that, the majority of the Germans seems to be ready to elect him, and he's an unbelievable person. You can't even imagine that guy. again, I'm picking words not to say anything that is legally offensive, because we really have to be careful about that in Germany. And it's two splitted parties. The one party say, well, let's go and hunt for that. If somebody offenses a governmental institution, even the institution shouldn't be pointed at, to say there's something wrong about that. And the other side is, well, be brave, go out there, tell them the truth, tell them what you mean, doesn't matter what happens and things like that. But whenever something happens, it turns out people stand alone in front of the judicial system that kind of won't give you happy days anymore, whatever happens, whenever it touches you. This is basically the situation. Having said that and spoken too much, what can we do with this Cancer moon for private use? Focusing on the good things, focusing on the things of feeling, and don't get our head too deep, excuse my language, into the ass of somebody who wants to poop out plutonic destructional ideas that really just don't match reality at all. Thank you very much for listening. This is Markus Termin, Astrologisches Stundenbuch. If you want to get in contact even with somebody who has such a rude language, this is the email address you can pick up, and down here at my blog site you'll find out how much it costs. Thank you for listening. At least that's a sign of the world is still standing. Hope to see you tomorrow.